Guys, version 1.22 of Minecraft is never going to come out. In today's video, we're going to check out update 1.21.11, the last update as we know it, and then the future of the game because a lot has changed. First, for those who forgot, 2025 was a great year for Minecraft updates, bringing new weapons, mobs, mounts, and exploration changes. The forest came to life with leaf particles on the ground, stackable layers of flowers, and fallen logs on the ground. As for the wildlife, pigs got climate variations with cold, hot, and temperate versions. Crossbreeding led to offspring with random looks. This idea was then applied to cows and later chickens. The Badlands also saw changes, with cacti blooming and the famous firefly bush emitting light particles at night. In creative mode, spawn eggs were redesigned to match the mobs in standard color and even size. That wasn't all. Happy Ghast appeared flying, new wolves were added, and a location bar was introduced for multiplayer. We also got spears, adding a new combat dynamic on foot and while riding, featuring longer range attacks, speed charges, unique enchantments, weaponized mobs, and more. And let's not forget the copper golem, which, though now overused, introduced unique mechanics like chest organization and oxidation. And believe it or not, there's even more, like the Nautilus, a new water mount, and new dried skeletons. This all felt significant by Mojang's standards and led many to expect a major Minecraft 1.22 update, not because Mojang announced it, but because the scope and impact seemed too big for a minor release. In the midst of this, we kept getting updates like 1.21.8, 1.21.9, 1.21, and after 10, it was 1.22. After years, it was time to update the game from 1.21 to the long-awaited 1.22. However, on December 9th, 2025 as usual, Mojang officially announced the game updates, but what nobody was expecting is that, instead of 1.22, we got 1.21.11. The Nautilus finally arrived as underwater mounts, along with their variations like the zombie Nautilus, besides the camel mule itself, which had already been tested in previous snapshots and was now made official along with its variations. But then the big question came up, where is 1.22? Well, it turns out that Mojang themselves announced that this version will never come. For almost the entire life of Minecraft, the versions worked in a very simple way, starting at 1.0, then 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on, with each major update pushing the number a little further. It was simple and intuitive. When someone said the next one was 1.18, everyone already knew something big was coming. This model worked perfectly for more than a decade until we got to 1.21, the Trial Chambers update back in June 2024. We didn't realize this was already a sign of things to come. From then on, we got more frequent but smaller updates, the famous game drops, instead of one big yearly update. That's also when version numbers got confusing, since major content kept coming even after 1.21. The Guardian Awakens came out, Spring to Life came out, Chase the Skies and Mounds of Mayhem released, but instead of version 1.22 or 1.23, the base stayed at 1.21 with odd numbers after it. Bedrock is 1.21.50, Java is 1.21.4. Checklist. Identify redundant phrases, merge similar ideas, remove unnecessary qualifiers, retain perspective and proper names, ensure grammatical correctness. For outsiders, things were getting confusing. Even Mojang admitted the version number no longer reflected the game's updates, whether it was a major release, minor update, or patch. With plans to release content several times a year, the old system became obsolete. So, Mojang announced a solution. The version number will no longer increase endlessly. Starting in 2026, it will be based on the year. All versions will start with 26 both in Java and Bedrock, so instead of 0.22, 0.23, or 0.24, the game will now use something like 26 something. That 26 obviously indicates the year, and after that comes the release number, the patch number. In other words, the number stops being an endless sequence and becomes a time-based label. Here on YouTube, there are lots and lots of videos talking about version 1.22, speculating about its arrival, the version we were all waiting for. But the truth is, it's never going to come. Yes, it's gone and it's not coming back. There's nothing left for the beta, and honestly I'm already confused. I think this new numbering system will be hard to get used to. We've used the old one for over a decade, and I still play on 1.8. I play player versus player and multiplayer, so how am I supposed to tell my friend on Discord, hey, on version 26.69? It'll take time for everyone to get used to it. Anyway, with the new naming pattern, we can discuss features added in 2026, and also more new features that have come up recently, because as you know, after more than 8 years of waiting, we finally had a big release, and a lot of people are are expecting Mojang to get back to work with even more focus to go head-to-head with this new heavyweight competitor. And, well, in this year of 2026 to go head-to-head with Hytale, the first visible and effective update we had was the addition of the chick. Yes, from now on there are new variations of the baby farm mobs. After version 1.21.11, Mojang released Minecraft Preview 26.0.27 for Bedrock, adding new calves, piglets, lambs, chicks, wolf pups, rabbits, ocelots, and more. These cute additions pleased many, though they weren't very surprising. And of course, it's worth mentioning that besides the aesthetics, the babies got their own sounds. And along with that, there was a pretty interesting addition. Now you can craft name tags. Now, name tags can be crafted with paper and any metal nugget instead of relying on luck, trading, or mods. This small change is great for customizing mobs, making maps, organizing farms, naming everything, or flipping pets upside down. Also, projectiles can now deflect gas fireballs and other defendable shots, creating new possibilities in combat and minigames, especially in multiplayer. We also made small tweaks for a more consistent world, and some zombie mobs now have new mount combinations, leading to unexpected and sometimes chaotic situations. It adds unpredictability to the game without affecting balance, and the visuals kept drawing attention. Anyone using Vibrant Visuals mode saw cleaner shadows, steadier colors, and fewer rendering bugs. No gameplay changes yet, but we're getting closer to having our shader in the game. Shortly after applying the new logic, we got the first Java version snapshot, Minecraft 26.1 Snapshot 1. This is important, not for the visible content, but because it officially begins a new era in Java. One key change was with the villagers. Until then, the trading system was opaque. You might know a librarian could sell a certain enchantment, but not why some did, others didn't, or how it was decided. With this snapshot, Mojang changed how things work, especially for maps, servers, and mods. The change is huge. From now on, you can decide much more precisely which trades exist, when they appear, how many times they can be used, and even which type of villager they show up with. Instead of fighting against the system, you can work with it. This allows for themed villages, controlled progression, stable server economies, and guided experiences where the world feels coherent. Leo, you've said a lot, but I haven't understood most of it. For example, a desert villager could offer different items than a snow villager, even with the same profession. Few noticed this change at first, but it stops many future workarounds. Soon after, Minecraft 26.1 Snapshot 5 was released. Keeping up with the baby mob trend, now in the ocean, baby axolotls, dolphins, turtles, squids, and glow squids all looking adorable. But then came the most meme-worthy moment. The golden dandelion, a craftable flower that gives eternal youth to the babies that stops puberty. It only works on peaceful mobs, not hostile ones, and keeps them as babies forever. Craft it with a dandelion and gold nuggets. Many people have made memes and bad jokes about that island, which isn't even worth mentioning. 2026, the year of the World Cup, the year of Grand Theft Auto 6, and also the year marking the end of a cycle, where 1.21 was the last update in a format that lasted more than a decade. But of course now, more than ever, we can't drop the ball. There was a cool movie in theaters, and we might get a sequel. We're getting this new game that could really energize the community, and now, in this new cycle, it doesn't hurt to dream about an Aether update, an End update, or even a Genie mod update. I brought you the best ideas the community is already speculating about, whether it's in a 26-something or a 27-something. First, the End update. Let's start with the obvious, the End. This biome should be the grand finale of the Minecraft experience, the peak of exploration, and the ultimate challenge for those who spent hours building, mining, and surviving. But the reality is that the End is more like a rough draft than a complete biome. It's just a collection of floating islands with purple blocks, a few endermen wandering around, and loot that honestly has been outdated since the 1.9 update back in 2016. The End is abandoned, and nothing has changed. Imagine what it would be like if the End had distinct biomes. Crystal forests that glow in the dark. Obsidian plains with shifting columns or floating purple oceans used for special potions. Each biome could feature unique mobs, such as tame dragons flying by your side or ethereal creatures appearing with a special potion. Remember, this isn't unusual. Minecraft Dungeons, which often sends ideas to Minecraft Java, features unique structures, mobs, and biomes in the End, highlighted in a dedicated downloadable content for this dimension. And while we're dreaming, what about a full Ender Dragon update? He could have new phases, tougher attacks, and summon mobs to help. After beating him, we want a super boss as tough as the Warden. The game keeps getting easier each year, so complex battles are rare now. Even the Ender Dragon, meant to be the final boss, has been easy for a long time. Ah, Liu Zhao, but you've never defeated him. Okay, I know I've never played survival until I killed the Ender Dragon. I've never finished the game, but it would be cool to have a harder boss. And last but not least, Mojang could update the Elytra. Just having some kind of different customization or the possibility to enchant it with something new would already be enough. Mob Vote Update number 2. Forget pigs, cows, and chickens. It's time for a more interesting mob, the capybara. Who wants a capybara in Minecraft? Comment the number 7 below because it would be an awesome addition. If I recall, they even started a petition for a capybara in Minecraft. It's a very popular mob. But still talking about what we already have, it's worth remembering that in some past mob votes we actually had some mobs theoretically confirmed, like the ostrich and the meerkat. Mojang's promise was that even if the mobs weren't chosen in their respective mob votes, they would be added in the future. So there's a huge list of ideas discarded in the mob vote that would actually be pretty interesting for Minecraft. However, in our beloved blocky game, the sky is completely empty. We really do need more birds to liven up the sky in our game. Number 3. Aether Update. And it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, new dimensions. Minecraft encourages exploration, making it surprising there are only 2 major playable dimensions, the Nether and the End. New dimensions are a great way to hide the narrative and provide unique challenges. One of the most requested suggestions by the community is a celestial portal, the famous Aether. Who hasn't tried to build a portal with glowstone? Cast the first stone. We never forget our first disappointment. It tricked us more than the brunette. This dimension could be a stunning paradise with floating landscapes, glowing rivers, and a star-filled sky. Exclusive blocks like glowing crystals and minerals emitting particles could decorate or help create new tools and items. Also, new dimensions need unique mobs. In the Celestial Portal, we could find peaceful creatures like winged deer that help with exploration, but also hostile creatures that challenge players with magical abilities. Another fascinating idea is altered gravity. Imagine walking on platforms with shifting weight or navigating places where floating is the only way. This leads me to discuss the portal of the ancient cities. Yes, over there in the Warden's biome, there's kind of a structure that looks like a portal, and there's a whole lore behind it which would be the ancient cities, so it's already a good opportunity to greatly expand our game. Exploration is number 4. Man, why are the desert and savanna so empty? The game offers diverse biomes and dungeons, but honestly, they've already been forgotten. The Dark Forest Mansion itself, when it was added, was something really interesting that brought a lot of variety to the game, but nowadays it's become more than common. The alley, which was supposed to be an interesting mob, is practically useless. Let's work on this more, Mojang. Imagine reaching a mountain peak and discovering abandoned cabins with books containing secret stories or treasure maps. Snowstorms could limit visibility and force you to find shelter, bringing a freezing effect that slows and harms you unless you're kept warm by leather armor. This would be an obvious addition, but we could also consider tougher creatures like a Yeti, a rare neutral mob that attacks only if you approach its cubs. Imagine finding icebergs with frozen caves packed with loot and hostile mobs like frozen skeletons shooting slowing arrows, and don't forget the environment. Snow piling up that covers everything realistically, ice crystals that can be used in building or potions, and even northern lights that appear at night, turning the sky into a spectacle. Number 5. The Industrial Update. A very important point is that the game is still not optimized enough. With every update, the game gets heavier, and as a result, people with a really weak PC end up losing. Personally, I think there must be some solution because Minecraft Bedrock Edition, for example, is much more optimized than Java. Come on, Mojang, let's get to work. And it's about time to propose a solution to organize our items. Our inventory is getting more and more cluttered with the variety of items that have been added. For over 13 years of updates, imagine how great it would be to have a button that organizes items automatically. That would be a dream. A dream as big as Venetia's Trees' automatic strawberry farm. Type wood and instantly see where all your wood types are stored, rather than digging through multiple chests. And no, I don't believe life is easy. It doesn't need to be cheap or simple. It could be a costly machine crafted after many hours. Now, about world improvements. Why do farms still rely on manual tedious systems? An automatic harvesting system that replants seeds with a right click would be a huge improvement, saving time and enabling new mechanics and machines. And imagine the possibilities with redstone, like inventing the wheel. Placing redstone on walls would be as revolutionary as discovering fire. This idea dates back to Minecraft Alpha when gears were planned to function like redstone. Minor tweaks to this item's mechanics could enable major automation. Also, it's time we got a vertical slab, or even better, the ability to mix 2 slab types. A wooden slab with a stone slab would allow endless combinations and decorations. Also, we really need seamless glass. Those dividing lines ruin modern Windows aesthetics and are almost criminal. Another interesting idea would be to expand the combat and exploration mechanics. Why not make shields more useful? They could be customizable in looks and function, like absorbing different damage types better. Last but not least, we need to talk about a prototype mode. This system would allow you to plan large builds and place ghost projections of blocks in the world, showing exactly where each block should go, and this would be especially useful for complex or collaborative builds. The game itself, in creative mode, already has a specific block just for schematics, but if somehow this could be adapted to survival mode, it would be simply amazing. Number 6. Dungeons Update. And speaking of functionality, let's go back to something that all players, regardless of their playstyle, would love. Improvements to existing structures, because let's be honest, finding unique things in the world is one of the best parts of Minecraft. For example, the villages in the game, although beautiful, could be much more interesting. Imagine discovering villages with unique cultures, like a desert village growing cacti or using camels for travel, or hidden mountain villages with houses carved into rock and linked by wooden bridges. Minecraft has already proven that it's perfect for telling stories through the environment, but many structures are currently too simple. For example, the desert pyramids are basically just sandboxes with a single chest in the center, and I know every Minecraft player is like a cat, but we don't need sandboxes in the game. Why not make them labyrinths filled with traps and secrets? These pyramids could have several levels with puzzles needing logic or redstone knowledge to solve. Anyone here follow puzzle maps? I remember back in 2014. In 2016, every Minecraft YouTuber played puzzle maps, Resende, Jazzghost, Shui from Ko, and nowadays these maps are completely forgotten. But anyway, moving on, the loot could be something more varied, including exclusive artifacts, or even pieces of maps that lead to even greater treasures. Another structure that deserves more attention is the abandoned mineshafts. They're already interesting, but they could be even more immersive. Imagine finding working minecarts with tracks that lead to secret areas. Mobs in these areas include ghost miners guarding the riches, among others. These mobs could be defeated to drop rare items like enchanted pickaxes or exclusive ores. Ever imagined abandoned ships in underwater caves? These spots could be filled with aquatic mobs and might hold rare items like treasure maps or exclusive materials. Besides that, the stronghold, which is essential for the end of the game, really needs an urgent makeover. How can such an important place have such empty rooms and repetitive corridors? You could add libraries, alchemy labs, and secret areas to discover new items or rare enchanted books. Trust me, Mojang, you won't regret it. Number 7. Sex Update. Okay, you got me. I said we couldn't include that in a kid's game. Still, a mod like Come Alive might be interesting. Like Brokenberry, we could pursue Authentic's girlfriend. Jokes aside, I don't think so. Human NPCs, like in The Sims, don't really fit. However, on the other hand, something like biome bosses would make more sense. Imagine if each biome could have its own boss with unique abilities and behaviors. And they could be rare, but always appear in remarkable places like structures or themed areas. Starting with the mountains, the Yeti, as we've already mentioned, would be an amazing boss. He could be a neutral mob until you invade his territory or threaten his offspring. In combat, the Yeti uses impact abilities to cause earthquakes, knocking players down or toward hazards. Defeating it yields exclusive items such as cold-resistant hide or a shockwave hammer. In the desert, the star would be a mummy from renovated pyramids, guarded by traps and skeleton hordes. Her main attack could be a curse that temporarily lowers the player's speed or strength. The oceans also have space for bosses like a kraken that appears in certain deep ocean spots. This boss uses its tentacles to pull players into the water or destroy boats. It can be defeated in multiple phases by attacking different body parts. The reward might be an item that extends underwater breathing or rare material for crafting underwater tools. Finally, the forest might house the guardian of the trees, a creature of wood and vines. He'd be tough, using the environment like summoning roots to trap players or launching thorns. These biome bosses would make each biome more interesting and encourage players to explore and tackle unique challenges.